the fight that could shake up the boxing world when two undefeated champions are about to clash. Joe Cordina versus Shakur Stevenson. But this fight has made Eddie Hearn upset. It is predicted that Joe Cordina will be the next Muhammad Ali. Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson, who is the master technician, will stand against Joe Cordina, the Welsh powerhouse. Stevenson is on the radar for major global events, particularly in Saudi Arabia, where the sports scene has been growing rapidly. Turki Al-Sheikh, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, told ESPN, "Stevenson's talented and young, and if he's smart, we will do a lot of things with him. There's a big fight with him in the future." Saudi Arabia has been making significant investments in boxing, hosting high-profile fights, and Al-Sheikh's comment suggests that Stevenson could be part of a major bout in the region soon, possibly against another top-tier fighter on a global stage.
He's very good friends with Jared Anderson. You know what I said to his client, Jared, I'm ready to talk. See that? I need to know now. Yeah. We'll talk later.
After this meeting, Al-Sheikh considers Shakur Stevenson and calls him outlaw. Shakur is set to defend his WBC lightweight title against Joe Cordina on October 12th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in what's shaping up to be an electrifying night of boxing. The announcement also sets the stage for a high-stakes co-main event alongside the highly anticipated Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol's undisputed light heavyweight championship fight. Stevenson is ESPN's number 9 pound-for-pound boxer, a champion in 3 divisions. Stevenson, who is 27 years old, was promoted by Top Rank since his pro debut. Now, the boxer from Newark, New Jersey, will fight under the Riyadh season banner.
Please, Shakur.
Yeah, I want every big fight.
Yo, we gotta walk with him. We gotta go.
Okay, thank you, Shakur.
Behind you.
How do you think properly you at 54, Claude?
Shakur, so you say nobody wants to fight you? Well, check out William Cepeda Saturday night on DAZN. He's begging me to fight you. See you there?
Promoter De La Hoya and Shakur Stevenson's rivalry has reached its peak. De La Hoya sets back at Shakur Stevenson, stating no one wants to fight with him. However, in return, Shakur Stevenson hits back at De La Hoya's call-out to fight. Shakur's opponent, Cordina, is reeling from his first loss, an 8th-round TKO against Anthony Kakas in May in Riyadh when he lost his 130-pound title. The 32-year-old Welshman will compete in his 5th consecutive title fight. On this clash, Al-Sheikh stated, "This is the beginning, and we will have a lot of fights with women in the future." Al-Sheikh has planned more exciting fights that will be announced soon. There is more to come. Also on the undercard, IBF cruiserweight champion Jai Opetaia will defend against Jack Massey, and Chris Eubank Jr. will meet Camille Serrameta. Heavyweights Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark will meet in a rematch of their thrilling February fight that ended in a draw. On this exciting event, Al-Sheikh further said, "The most important thing is, my door is open for everyone. For Al Heyman, Top Rank, Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn, Queensberry, Ben Shalom, everyone." Al-Sheikh said he is exploring a heavyweight battle between Martin Bacol and Zhilei Zhang that could take place later this year in Africa or China, where the fighters hail from, respectively. Shakur Stevenson isn't just the ordinary fighter, he is considered one of the biggest boxers. Shakur and the Riyadh season group have moved on to the next order of business. Turki Al-Sheikh, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, released the full undercard for the October 12 Riyadh season show. Stevenson is scheduled to next face former IBF 130-pound titleist Joe Cordina in the co-feature. On this big upcoming clash, an Olympic gold medalist and 5-time world champion Andre Ward shared his concern. He has mentored Stevenson and praised his practice. He said, "Shakur's maturity in the ring is beyond his years. He knows how to adjust, how to break down opponents, and he's never in a rush. I think he's going to be one of the greats." Ward's concern likely stems from his recognition that while Stevenson's talent is undeniable, continuing to grow mentally and facing bigger challenges will determine whether he can reach the greatness Ward envisions for him. The event will take place at Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Headlining the show is the already announced and rescheduled Artur Beterbiev Dimitri Bivol Ring Undisputed Light Heavyweight Championship. All reports indicate that Stevenson, the ring's number 4 rated lightweight, will attempt the second defense of his WBC 135-pound title. There are various reports as to why Mexico's William Zepeda, number 3 at 135 by the ring, won't be next. They also come amidst wild claims on social media channels that Raymond Muratalla would be up next. Those rumors swirled after a cryptic post from trainer Robert Garcia's account on X. Got word it was about the purse bid today for Shakur Stevenson. We'll be ready. Shakur Stevenson. The account later clarified that Muratalla is next in line and we aren't turning that down if Zepeda steps aside. Zepeda is the #1 rated lightweight among all 4 major sanctioning bodies. The southpaw from San Mateo Atenco, Mexico became the WBA and IBF's top contender after a 5th-round knockout of Maxie Hughes in Las Vegas. He was already #1 with the WBC and advanced to the top spot with the WBO.
It was a surprising victory. Something that I didn't expect, and hats off to both of them guys. They put on a great show. Honestly, I was very surprised. I didn't think that he had it in him. I didn't think he had the boxing skills to do that, but he proved me wrong, and he had boxing skills, he had power, and it looked like it was just his night. My message would be take some time off, gather yourself together before you just jump back in the ring, and I would suggest him taking a lot of time off and getting his head right.
After defeating Artem Harutyunyan, Stevenson seemed ready to move on ever since talks surfaced of a possible title defense versus Wales's Cordina. The unbeaten 3-division title holder is now a promotional free agent, though mainly working with Matchroom Boxing. He also met directly with Al Sheikh, first at the Algadaster 3 U.S. launch of the Riyadh season boxing series. They met again in the 2+ weeks that followed, to where Al Sheikh felt comfortable to announce the full Oct 12 lineup. Al Sheikh has done this before. In fact, with nearly every Riyadh season boxing event reveal, there were 2 previous occasions where a title fight was announced before confirmation that it was approved by a sanctioning body.
Shakur Stevenson is another great fighter, but he make a boring fights. I don't know why. He needs another level opponents. He needs different opponents on the ring, another levels opponents. I don't know what happened with Shakur Stevenson is a good fighter, but what happened with his fight? What happened with Edwin de los Santos? That fight was boring fight. And then I think I would like to see Shakur Stevenson against William Zepeda. He has the good style for Shakur Stevenson. Camarón Zepeda is a southpaw. He throw a lot of punches in every round, and then I think Shakur Stevenson needs that kind of boxing.
Stevenson claimed the WBC 130-pound title in a 12-round points wins over Edwin de los Santos last November 11 in Las Vegas. The 2016 Olympic silver medalist previously held titles at 126 and 130, the latter where he was also the ring champion. Stevenson is known for his superb defense, ring IQ, and ability to control the pace of a fight. He's a 2-division world champion and widely regarded as one of the top talents in boxing today. Having recently unified titles at 130 pounds, Stevenson has built a reputation for outclassing opponents with technical precision. As ESPN's Tim Bradley once said, Shakur is a master technician. He controls every aspect of the fight. He's a special talent, pound for pound, one of the best of this era. Stevenson himself has expressed his confidence in stepping into the ring against a strong opponent like Cordina. He stated, "I don't care who they put in front of me. I've shown I can beat anyone, and this fight will be no different." Cordina might think he's ready, but he's never faced someone like me. Cordina, who is known as the Welsh Wizard, has a strong amateur background and is currently the IBF super featherweight champion. He's a smart, slick boxer who possesses knockout power, as evidenced in his second-round KO of Kenichi Ogawa to win the title. Cordina's rise has been impressive, and he's demonstrated that he's capable of competing at the highest level. Speaking about the opportunity, Cordina said, "Stevenson is one of the best, but I'm here to show the world what I can do. I've worked hard for this, and I know I can win. I'm not intimidated." Cordina's promoter, Eddie Hearn, believes in Cordina's potential to rise to the occasion. He predicted, "Joe's got the heart, the skill, and the power. I think he can shock a lot of people. This is his moment to prove he's elite, and I wouldn't count him out." The news follows after Eddie Hearn had confirmed talks were underway. Reports initially indicated that the fight could take place in February. This would be on a potential Terence Crawford versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. card. But with that fight looking unlikely, Stevenson will now appear on the Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol card when they box for the undisputed light heavyweight championship. Shakur is a free agent after leaving Top Rank.
I think Eddie Hearn recently been trying to strike some sort of deal with Shakur Stevenson. So I'm led to believe that if this fight is happening, then is it a one-fight deal or something with Shakur? Obviously, ever since he turned pro. Eddie Hearn's been promoting Joe Cordina. So then you kind of look into it and think it makes sense. I think before we get on to the actual fight, I'm glad Joe Cordina is stepping up in weight. If this is to happen, because I think his days at super featherweight.
A fight with Cordina allows Shakur to remain active and set up a potential Gervonta Davis fight next year, where he would be free to negotiate without being tied down by a promoter. Cordina is a former BF super featherweight champion. He lost the belt in his last bout after getting knocked out by Anthony Kakasi in the 8th round.
If that fight's there, then it's there. Obviously, I've made it known before that I won that fight. He mentioned when he was at super featherweight, and then he said at a catch weight as well. So. The lightweight, there's no need for a catchweight. We can make a fight happen. But
Joe Cordina discusses the potential and says he will win this fight at any cost. However, Cordina must move up to 135 to face Shakur for his WBC lightweight title. Stevenson won the vacant belt with a unanimous decision win against Edwin de los Santos. The performance resulted in boos from the crowd due to Shakur's defensive style. The same happened against Artem Harutyunyan in Shakur's prior bout, with some fans leaving before the end of the final round. If Shakur wants the biggest fights, he must put on more eventful performances. The WBC had ordered him to face William Zepeda, but that is unlikely, with Golden Boy Promotions appearing reluctant to make that fight. That has left Shakur to face Cordina. Julius Julianis said there is an agreement for Shakur Stevenson versus Joe Cordina on October 12th at the Beterbiev versus Bivol evening in Saudi Arabia. Shakur has signed only this fight with Matchroom because he wants to be free in 2025 and negotiate with Gervonta Davis. When we'd been expecting to see Shakur Stevenson fight William Zepeda and hoping he'd fight Gervonta Tank Davis, it's difficult to be supportive of Joe Cordina challenging for Stevenson's WBC lightweight title. Cordina lost his past fight unexpectedly to Anthony Kakase. The sanctioning bodies typically don't award world title fights to fighters who have just lost, but they also overlook their guidelines whenever they feel like it. Teddy Atlas, a respected boxing commentator, noted the interest of this matchup. He said, "Stevenson's slick, no doubt, but Cordina has power and timing. This could be a more dangerous fight for Shakur than people think. Joe is capable of pulling off an upset." Atlas is highlighting that while Stevenson may be favored, Cordina's strengths give him a real shot at causing an upset. Cordina's a solid fighter. He's a former world champion with a recognized name, and like Stevenson, he's a former Olympian. But I'm not convinced he's a lightweight, and he's a less appealing opponent than Zepeda or Davis would be. From Cordina's perspective, he's the B-side of the fight, and he's entering it off the back of a loss. He probably shouldn't be rewarded for that with this opportunity, which means that, particularly with him having split from his trainer Tony Sims, he can treat their fight as a bonus. Stevenson's very, very good at neutralizing all styles. He's very, very difficult to deal with, and he's very, very difficult to win rounds against and to catch cleanly.
Yeah, I've spoken to Joe about fighting Shakur Stevenson. Joe's up for it, but he also understands the challenge. Ideally, moving up a weight division, you'd probably want an easier fight than Shakur Stevenson, but Joe is at the age where he wants to be involved in the biggest fights in the sport, and if he feels like the opportunity's right, I'm sure he would take it, but nothing close yet.
Eddie Hearns, being Cordina's promoter, sees the explosive potential in him. Definitely, this is a huge opportunity for Cordina to right the wrongs of losing to Kakase, and if he's able to do so, he'll be in an even better position than he was when he was still a champion at 130 lbs. Slamming Shakur Stevenson brutally, Eddie said, "If Shakur wants to pledge his future, then you make a significant investment. If it's a 2-3 fight deal, then he's going to be getting a lot of money, and it's got to work for you as well. I think Shakur, he's pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. He may be unbeatable, but I think he's been promoted terribly." Eddie Hearn criticized Shakur Stevenson's horrible promotion by Bob Arum. From Stevenson's perspective, at a time when he's not as popular as he arguably deserves to be in the United States, it could prove positive that he's fighting a marketable opponent from Britain. Despite boxing being a global sport, every time you get increased attention from other parts of the world, you have a chance to build your profile and reputation.
And I think some of that is because when Bob knows a fighter's looking to leave, he's out. Like, this probably happened 2 or 3 fights ago. Shakur should be a massive star, but he's not. So that works for and against as well, in a sense that commercially, the money he's on a lot of money. I like him. I think he's a great fighter. I think he would be an incredible addition to the Matchroom team. And if he's available, we will definitely be having a conversation. Whether it works for both of us, we'll have to see. I said to him, he mentioned Shakur. I said, I'm not paying him the money you're paying him, Bob. And he went, wow. So, yeah.
According to Eddie Hearn, Stevenson should not make decisions based on money. He should think wisely. Stevenson doesn't need Cordina to be well known in the UK, but by fighting the popular Cordina, he'll be the subject of more intrigue there. Stevenson's one of the best fighters in the world, and he's long been a main event fighter, but on this occasion, he'll be the chief support to Artur Beterbiev Dmitry Bivol in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on October 12th. Not unlike other Riyadh season promotions, some of the fights scheduled are those that would be main events on most other cards. If it's disappointing that we're not about to see Stevenson Zepeda, we can also consider it par for the course. Some of the great matchups that are possible are often ruined by the demands of the business.
So he has to put a dent in these people, otherwise he'll get beat. But he does put a dent in them, because he punches really hard, and Tank's not just a puncher, he's got a good boxing IQ as well. I just don't think he's technically, or the IQ is as good as Lomachenko or as good as Shakur Stevenson. But can he put a dent in them? Because I promise you this, if he don't stop these people, he will be behind at nearly every junction of those fights, Lomachenko included.
Eddie Hearn on why Shakur beats Gervonta Davis. Shakur has dents, which means he has some weak points. It's been predicted Zepeda's promoter Oscar De La Hoya couldn't get options on Stevenson because Stevenson's a free agent and would be the favorite to beat Zepeda, and because Zepeda's one of Golden Boy Promotions' leading prospects. He'd rather Zepeda got left out in the cold. If that's true, De La Hoya would neither be the first nor last promoter to do so. It's a common move. Regardless, the reality is that if there's one fight to be made at 135 lbs, it's between Stevenson and Davis. Davis's co-manager Josh Dubin recently told Boxing Scene that they were waiting and ready to negotiate. Dubin represented me several times, and if he said that, he meant it. As these two undefeated champions prepare to clash, the stakes couldn't be higher. Stevenson, with his unmatched technique, faces the biggest threat of his career in Cordina, who's determined to shock the world. No matter who walks away with the victory, this is a fight that will leave its mark on the sport. Who do you think will come out on top? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more boxing updates.